Alright guys, we're doing more fantasy baseball content, and here I'm going to help you go through your waiver wire and find the best and most important players to add to your teams. But first, I want to thank everyone for being back here and supporting the channel. We're getting really close to our 4,000 subscriber goal. So again, if you guys are here and not subscribed, please go down there and click that big black button down there and subscribe to the channel if you want to get more content. Also, drop a like on the video if you like what you're watching. It's been so much fun to make this content as the season's gotten started. I'm really excited to make more. But let's get into it. The early season waiver wire is really important because we're learning so much about all these players so quickly since everything is new and fresh and a lot of data is coming in very fast. That makes it very important to identify and jump on the players whose values are spiking before your league mates. Not only to find a diamond in the rough, but also because we have an entire season ahead where these players can be on our teams, accumulate stats, and help us win. Last week on my first waiver wire video of the season, I featured players like Christian Campbell, Jack Leiter, and Tyler Soderstrom. All three of those guys had awesome weeks, and you should check out that video, see if there's any players I mentioned on that list that are still available in your leagues. The link is in the description. Otherwise, I have plenty more names in this video to go over who look amazing to start the season, and you'll definitely want to add to your teams as soon as possible. The first of which being Lars Nootbaar, outfielder on the Cardinals. Nootbaar's always been a very toolsy player, and he's also always been an analytics darling. He has legit power, solid speed, plays good defense, and he never chases pitches out of the strike zone. Those are huge foundational building blocks for any player. But the big problem with Nootbaar is that he's gotten hurt a lot of times, and it's really stopped his momentum and growth as a player. The other thing that's really hurt Nootbaar in his career is that as a left-handed batter, he's very often been platooned and sat against left-handed pitchers. Platoons kill fantasy value, especially in weekly leagues, which most of us play in, because if you're a left-handed batter in a weekly league and you want to start them in your lineup, let's say they have 6 games in a week, but they're facing 2 lefties. Now they're only playing 4 games in a week. How often are you really going to pick the guy playing 4 games in a week over the other guy on your team playing 6 games a week? Not often. That could be 33% less plate appearances, 33% less chances to do damage. It's really not a winning recipe in fantasy baseball. It was even more frustrating with Nootbaar because he's never really had a significant platoon split in his profile. Entering the season for his career, he had a 787 OPS against right-handed pitching and a 751 OPS against left-handed pitching. That's really not much of a platoon split at all. But things have changed so far this year for Nootbaar. He came into the season as a Cardinals leadoff hitter and has been excellent in a small sample with a 950 OPS, tons of hard contact, and more walks and strikeouts through the early part of the season. Not to mention the fact that the Cardinals have finally stopped platooning him against left-handed pitching. Early last week, he stayed in his normal leadoff spot against left-handed pitcher Tyler Anderson, and he rewarded the Cardinals' trust with a leadoff home run in that game. Then a few days later, he stayed in his normal leadoff spot again against left-handed pitcher Yusei Kikuchi and got 2 more hits in that game. No more platoons for Nootbaar means he's finally able to access this sky-high ceiling, especially with him hitting leadoff in a Cardinals lineup that has been smoking the ball early in the season. The one more critique I'd have for Nootbaar is to swing a bit more often because he is so patient at the plate. Sometimes he gets a little too scared to chase pitches that he lets too many good pitches go that are inside the strike zone. He's upped that swing rate a bit this year, but it's not really significant of an increase enough to know if it's something that's accidental or purposeful. Lars, please swing more. You do great damage with the bat, and you making more contact will be really beneficial. No matter what though, with him hitting leadoff, playing every day, having his power, having his plate discipline, there's a really high ceiling here for Lars Nootbaar, and I'm adding him in every single league where he's available. Next up on the list is Shane Baz, starting pitcher on the Rays. I have to put my hand up. I think I was a little bit overzealous in pushing Rays starting pitchers down my rankings preseason because I was very scared about them moving from Tropicana Park, which was an amazing pitcher's park, outside to Steinbrenner Field, which is modeled off of Yankee Stadium, and I figured would play very hitter friendly. But so far, I think I've been wrong about that. I think I overestimated how much of the impact would have because one of the guys I was a little bit too fearful of is Baz, forgetting how electric this guy's stuff is when he's fully healthy and clicking on all cylinders. He was sensational his season debut last week, striking out 10 batters over 6 innings and not allowing an earned run. His fastball was incredible and touched 100 miles an hour. There were some pretty big velocity oscillations with his fastball through this game, but it held pretty firm in the upper 90s in the middle innings, which is a good sign. Also, his curveball had more drop than last season, his changeup had more movement and sat around 90 miles an hour. Those are 3 incredible pitches, and they can take Baz a long way this season. He's dealt with a slew of injuries over the last few years, and when he came back last season, the stuff looked much worse than it did now. So it seems like he probably just wasn't comfortable then or was maybe holding back a little bit. But raw stuff wise, when Baz is right, there are few pitchers in the league who look as good as him when he looks like this, and I'm all in on him right now after watching that start. Add him everywhere you possibly can if he's still available. Next up is Ben Rice, first baseman DH on the Yankees, who just straight up breaks. I had Rice as one of my preseason hitter breakouts, mostly because last year he made really good quality of contact, but was the unluckiest player in baseball in terms of difference between his expected WOBA and his actual WOBA. Also because in spring training, he was crushing the ball. He had the 6 hardest hit balls of his entire professional career this past March, and it really gave me confidence to see that he was hitting the ball that much harder. Now Rice has carried that newfound power into the regular season, where he already has 2 home runs, 2 doubles, and is one of only 14 players in the entire league to already have 11 batted balls that were hit harder than 100 miles an hour. Some of the other names on that list are Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Pete Alonso, Ellie De La Cruz, Corbin Carroll, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., the usual suspects of guys who hit the ball really hard. Also really cool for Rice, after that torrid spring, he's now set a new max career high exit velocity at 111 miles an hour. Also, Rice has debuted a bit of a new swing so far this season. He's standing a bit more open at the plate, and that's allowing him to generate more bat speed that's spurning these higher exit velocities. I want to shout out David Adler of MLB.com for writing a great article about Rice's new stance, where he's standing in the box, his contact point, and why he's been hitting so well this season. On top of all that, he's taking his walks, he's not striking out very much, he's pulling the ball, he's lifting the ball. It's such an incredible batted ball profile for Rice right now that I'm believing all the way. The only thing that's stopping Rice from becoming something that could look like a star at the plate is that sometimes he's still platooning against left-handed pitchers. I mentioned earlier with Lars Nootbaar how much platoon can hurt a player's production, especially in the weekly leagues that most of us play in. And while Rice started against left-handed pitcher Bailey Falter on Saturday, he sat on Sunday against left-handed pitcher Andrew Heaney. This coming at the same time that he's moved to the top of the order, sometimes even first or second against right-handed pitchers. So clearly the Yankees and Aaron Boone trust him as a hitter and want him in some of the most valuable spots in the lineup, but there probably needs to be a little bit more to be done for him to be completely trusted when left-handed pitchers are on the mound. But it seems like he can handle them well, and when that change happens, because I do believe it will, is all systems go for Ben Rice. There are really no holes in his profile as a hitter. He can have a tremendous season with full playing time if the Yankees decide to give it to him. Next up is Jordan Walker, outfielder on the Cardinals. Another member of my preseason breakout hitter list, and another guy who's hitting the ball incredibly hard so far this season. His 116.5 mile an hour batted ball is the second hardest hit ball by any player across baseball this season, showing off his gaudy raw power. Also, Walker is only one of 11 players in the whole league with 3 batted balls hit harder than 110 miles an hour. I'm telling you guys again, the raw power for Jordan Walker is nutty. It's up there with some of the best hitters in baseball. Also, it seems like Walker's made some incremental gains with his plate discipline so far this season. He's seen over 120 pitches so far, which is getting close to a good enough sample that we can actually deduce who's made improvements to their plate discipline, and he's chasing fewer pitches out of the strike zone, swinging at pitches inside the strike zone more often, striking out less often, and that's all while his swing rate, the amount of pitches he literally decides to swing at, is holding steady with where it's been in the past. That tells me this is a player with a better understanding of what pitchers are trying to do to him and what pitches to swing at than the guy we saw last year, who was completely discombobulated after getting sent down, called back up, didn't play well. Really disaster season for Jordan Walker that I'm willing to just totally throw away. Really, what I'm seeing from Jordan Walker right now reminds me of the 2023 version of Jordan Walker, where he hit the ball really hard, had okay plate discipline, just put a lot of the balls in play and let that contact kind of carry him. He's still not really lifting the ball, he's still not really pulling the ball, and he will have to unlock those skills to reach the massive ceiling that I believe he has as a former top prospect who, again, has some of the best raw power in all of baseball. But the player he is right now can provide a high batting average, enough power, some stolen bases, with still tremendous upside. That's someone I want in every single one of my teams if he's available. Next up is Kris Bubic, starting pitcher on the Royals. And I'll be honest with you guys, I think Bubic is the player on this list that I'm most excited to talk about. He looks incredible. I don't know if there's a pitcher in the league right now that's elevated their value more in the early part of the season than Bubic has. He had 2 incredible starts this week where he struck out 16 batters over 13 innings and only allowed 1 earned run. And that was against the Brewers, who they have some good players in their lineup, but it's not the best lineup in the world. Then the Orioles, who have a very good lineup. He's looked nasty, and I really think it could be something special, which is crazy to say for a guy like Bubic because he was awful early in his career as a starting pitcher. When I say awful, guys, I mean terrible. As a starter heading into this season, Bubic had a 4.99 ERA, 1.54 whip, and just a 20% strikeout rate. Opposing hitters had a 282 batting average with a 358 on base percentage and 463 slugging percentage against Bubic in his career as a starting pitcher. That is the same hitting line that William Contreras had last season. That means every hitter in Bubic's career up until this point that came to the plate was basically the same as William Contreras last year. That's very bad. Contreras is a good hitter, and Bubic got crushed over the course of his career. And the reason he got crushed is because he had absolutely no stuff. I don't want to be mean to Bubic, especially because I'm so high on him now, but he had a terrible fastball that sat 90 miles an hour and got absolutely torched, to go along with a changeup that didn't miss any bats, and an inconsistent curveball that really didn't play well against hitters from either side of the plate. This package was terrible. But Bubic blew out his elbow a few years ago and got Tommy John surgery. And when he was rehabbing, he was diligently concerned with fixing his fastball shape. He always had a pretty flat release angle and a low release point with good extension, so he had the pieces to have a plus fastball. And when he came back last season pitching out of the bullpen, fastball's coming in a couple miles an hour harder and had a legitimate life. When I talk about life on fastballs, I'm really talking about the concept of perceived as the rising action when a fastball comes into a hitter. Kind of when you see those four-seam fastballs that miss a lot of bats in the top of the zone, they technically rise above the bat and the hitter swings below it. That's the gist of what I mean by a four-seam fastball with a lot of life. And when Bubic came back late last summer, his fastball had about 2 more inches of inverted vertical break, or I'll call that ride, going from 15 inches to 17 inches. Then as the season got on, he got more loose and more comfortable, jumped up to 18 inches. Now he's back this season, and that fastball has 19 inches of inverted vertical break, which is significantly higher than league average. He's even thrown a few fastballs this season to have upwards of 20, 21, 22 inches of inverted vertical break, and that fastball is missing tons of bats at the top of the zone and truthfully looks electric, even without great velocity. The shape is so good that it can still be nasty and miss bats without it. On top of that, all of his pitches are moving more. His changeup is gross. He has a tight slider that's amazing against hitters from both sides of the plate. He has a new sweeper that's devastating to left-handed batters. It's fantastic, and it's all built on the foundation of this new tremendous fastball that plays really, really well. Again, guys, the top of the strike zone. Hitters are whiffing at it like crazy. Add all that together, and I am incredibly in on Kris Bubic. Do not allow him to be a free agent in any of your leagues, especially if you guys are playing in points leagues on ESPN or even CBS, where you can add a starting pitcher into your relief pitcher slot, and they can accumulate starting pitcher points and starting pitcher innings, but be relief pitcher eligible. That is a huge hack for those leagues and something that will completely transform your team. Next up is Jacob Wilson, shortstop on the A's, who might have one of the most bizarre hitting profiles in all of baseball. He's not getting you home runs, he's not getting you stolen bases, but what Jacob Wilson does is make contact, and I mean he makes a lot of contact. Have you guys ever heard people talk about the 3 true outcomes in baseball these days, that all players are just looking for a home run to get walked, and if they don't get either, they wind up striking out? The 3 true outcomes? Jacob Wilson's the opposite. He's up there to swing, and hit. He's the last qualified player in baseball this season to neither draw a walk or strike out. Neither of them. There's only a handful of players who haven't drawn a walk yet, and him and Luis Arraez are the last players to strike out. And that's really great for Wilson in his home park in Sacramento, because it's going to reward contact and play as a huge hitter's park. So him putting the ball in play consistently, pulling the ball enough, is going to lead to probably a little bit more power than we expected to have Wilson with this profile coming into the season. The next step for him, though, is to become a more selective hitter, because with the swing, contact, a lot of times he is swinging at pitches that aren't really good pitches to hit, good pitches to drive, pitches on the edge of the strike zone, pitches slightly outside the strike zone. Those are the times he winds up making weak contact, and they kind of drive down his whole profile. If you can become a little bit more selective, a little bit more patient, really find a way to identify those pitches to drive, this is a guy that could really elevate his status. I think he's already really elevated his status. He's a fun player and someone to definitely take a look at in some of your deeper 12-team leagues. Next up is Jordan Hicks, starting pitcher on the Giants. And Hicks' calling card is serious velocity. His sinker has sat 98 miles an hour through his 2 starts this year, which is nutty. That pitch even maxed out 100.5 miles an hour in his last start. Overall, he has 11 strikeouts over 11 innings and only 3 earned runs allowed. That's very good. But the one issue I have with Hicks is all he is really doing is throwing that sinker, which again, at 98 miles an hour is amazing, and his sweeper, which again, the way he's throwing it, the thing looks like a frisbee. It's disgusting. But those being his only 2 pitches, don't give him any options against left-handed batters. Sinkers and sweepers for a right-handed pitcher perform much better against right-handed batters. And while he has amazing velocity in those pitches, that's what's helping him to get left-handed batters out with them. But we saw this from Hicks last season, where he started the season throwing in the upper 90s and sustaining that deep into his starts. But as the season wore on, he grew more fatigued, and that velocity wound up dropping down to the 94, 95 mile an hour range, sometimes even touching 93. Without more pitches and more weapons against left-handed batters especially, he became ineffective very quickly and had to move back to the bullpen. But the difference this season is that he just had the full offseason to train as a starting pitcher. Last season, the Giants signed him as a starting pitcher as a bit of a surprise, and he kind of got thrown into the fire. Now he's a lot bigger, he had 15 pounds to his frame, and he has the mindset where he's ready to attack being a starting pitcher for the whole season. I just don't really know if that's going to work out. It's much easier said than done. So I'm a little bit more cautious with Jordan Hicks than maybe some other people out there. I'm really looking to add him in my 12-team leagues, anything deeper than that. 10s, I do want to see more. Maybe let someone else get him, see if it works out. But I'm in on Hicks, but I'm not really sprinting to my waiver wire to get him. But I'm definitely noticing, and there's still huge upside here if he can sustain that velocity through most of the season. Especially as a guy that has a home park in San Francisco, which is an amazing place to pitch. Again, noticing Hicks, grabbing him, slightly trepidatiously though. Next up is Kyron Paris, second baseman on the Angels. Second baseman, shortstop, outfielder. Kyron Paris played all over the place, and he's had an amazing start to the season. Already with 8 hits, 2 home runs, and 4 stolen bases in just 8 games. That is nutty production, something that's valuable in every single fantasy league. He was only playing sparingly to start the season though, but on Friday, Luis Rengifo got injured. Kyron Paris came in for him in that game, and now he started both games on Saturday and Sunday with Rengifo out. He's always had a profile that's been very driven by a good on-base ability and speed, but then on Sunday, he smacked a 434-foot home run. This thing was crushed and has me dreaming on his power potential, especially because last season he hit the ball 110 miles an hour, which tells me he has slightly above average power, and he has average bat speed. You put all this together, and I see a guy that might actually be able to sneak 20-ish home runs out in a full season of play. On top of that, he's very fast, tremendous base stealer, and knows how to draw a walk. This is a really good starting profile for a guy like Paris who's getting a shot to play full time. There are some issues though, and I do think he has a pretty low floor. I do not know how that power is going to translate. Again, I saw that long home run, I see the bat speed, I see the max exit velocity. I want to believe, I can definitely see it not translating. Also, lots of swing and miss in his game, so I think there is a pretty low floor here, especially in terms of batting average. He's on fire right now, and the Angels are going to be starting him every day, so pay attention to Paris and grab him if you see fit. Next up is Drew Rasmussen, starting pitcher on the Rays. He looked healthy in his first start of the season, and that is the biggest key with Rasmussen. Someone's already had 2 Tommy John surgeries and an additional internal brace surgery last year. 3 major elbow surgeries is a really bad sign, but it's incredible that Rasmussen has come back and looks electric again after all of that. His fastball sat 97 miles an hour over a 70-pitch start, and his cutter was lethal playing off of it. He is is so good if he can just stay on the mound. It's really just about Rasmussen pitching. And right now, while he's healthy, it's worth scooping him up to see if he can do it. Also, similar to Chris Bubich, he's relief pitcher eligible, so he can be a weapon in those points leagues. All right, last up is Nolan Shanuel, first baseman on the Angels. Another guy shout out my breakout hitter list, mostly because he made tons of contact and good swing decisions. So there was a chance here if Shanuel added any power, he could skyrocket in value. And what do you know? Early in the season, he has added legitimate power. His average bat speed has significantly increased up to nearly average bat speed, still slightly below average, and he had the hardest hit ball of his career already this season at 109.8 miles an hour. Again, those two numbers are still slightly below league average. It's really not great power. I'm not going to tell you it is, but the fact that it's growing, the fact that he's doing it, the fact that it seems like there was a lot of work put in by Shanuel this offseason to get more powerful is massive, because this was the last thing missing from his game. Again, it's high contact. It's really good plate discipline. Now he's swinging a bit more often. If he can find a way to keep those core skills while doing more damage, which it seems like is happening right now, again, we're booming in value from Nolan Shanuel, and I want to be keeping an eye on him in my 12-team leagues. Okay, now I'm going to run through a lot of players very quickly. First, 3 guys who I want to highlight for you guys playing in more shallow leagues, 10 or 8-team leagues, who should not be a free agent anywhere. First is Jesus Luzardo, starting pitcher on the Phillies. He's not someone I was considering adding to this video because he's a really good pitcher and he looks very healthy right now and electric. But I looked on ESPN before I started this and he's only 56% rostered. That's way too low for Luzardo. In his career, when he's sitting above 96 miles an hour, he's an elite pitcher. Right now, he's sitting 97. He's incredible. Don't let him be free agent anywhere. Next up is Hunter Goodman, catcher on the Rockies, playing every day, raking. You want him on your team, especially because even when he's not catching, he's starting as a DH. Don't let Goodman be a free agent anywhere. Last up is Luke Jackson, relief pitcher on the Rangers. He is their closer. Right now, he's leading the league in saves. I don't think the skills are that great, but Bruce Bochy has shown in his career that when he has a closer, he rides that closer. Luke Jackson is his guy right now and seems like we'll be the closer there for an extended period of time, for better or worse. If you need saves, get Jackson if he's available. Now I'm going to go through a lot of guys for your deeper leagues out there. Your deep 12-team leagues, 14 teams, 15 teams, 16 teams. Guys who you want to be paying attention to in your deeper leagues. First up is Brady Singer, starting pitcher on the Reds. His stuff looks much improved this season. More riding the fastball, more movement on the off-speed pitches. I'm noticing Brady Singer, but I hate the ballpark. Then we have Otto Lopez. Shout him out in the deep league ads last week. He's a really good fielder, second baseman on the Marlins, who's added power so far. He's been hot to start the season. Keep an eye on Otto Lopez. I really don't believe it. He's probably not even available in your deep leagues, but pay attention. Then 2 huge prospects, Roman Anthony on the Red Sox and Nick Kurtz on the A's, both crushing the ball in AAA. Think they'll be up in the majors before Memorial Day. If you have a chance to stash in a deeper league, start to stash. Then Jose Alvarado looks like he's taken the closer job from Jordan Romano in Philadelphia, throwing 102 miles an hour. Early has 2 saves. Check him out. Then Max Kepler, also on the Phillies as an outfielder. He usually has been platoon his career against left-handed pitchers, but right now he's not being platooned. He's crushing the ball in a very good lineup on the Phillies. Then Jeff McNeil in the Mets. They've had not much production from the second base platoon of Brett Baty and Luis Angel Acuna. He's expected to start a rehab assignment this week. Jeff's a sneaky stash in a deep league. He ended the season really hot last year before breaking his wrist. I think he's being underrated right now. I think he's going to come back and mash. Then we have Tyler Alexander, starting pitcher on the Brewers. He took the Reds hitless through 6 innings on Friday night, as a guy who's been more of a spot starter in his career. The Brewers are starved for pitching depth, and right now, if he gets a shot, he has a pretty exciting cutter and good fastball. The Brewers really do well with this type of pitcher. They always squeeze more value out of them. Pay attention to him in a very deep league if you desperately need a pitcher. Then some guys quickly. Thomas Sajaci, second baseman on the Cardinals. He's playing for Nolan Gorman right now. He has some good hitterish tools, hit a home run Sunday. Matt Mervis, first baseman on the Marlins. Mervis has some really good stats in the upper minors, but he did them as a very old player, so I don't know if I buy it, but the Marlins giving him a chance right now, and he's hitting well. Then Trent Grisham on the Yankees, outfielder, crushing the ball right now. Has had some good years in the past. I still don't know if I believe it. Then we got Cam Meisner, outfielder on the Rays. Some real power speed upside here, but tons of strikeouts, swing and miss. Again, deep league flyer. Then Griffin Canning, starting pitcher on the Mets. Shout him out last week. Slider looks amazing, and the Mets are having him feature it. He's not going a third time around the order, though, so again, the best you're getting is 5 innings here. Deep league ad. Now, I told you guys a bunch of players to add, so I'm going to go through some guys I'm starting to consider dropping in most leagues. First, Adon Rafaela, outfielder and shortstop on the Red Sox. He's just simply not hitting right now. The plate approach is terrible, and he's starting to lose playing time to David Hamilton as the Red Sox try to experiment with Christian Campbell in center field. Rafaela's not hitting well enough to be held in shallow leagues. Get rid of him in 10s and 12s. Then we have Mason Wynn, the Cardinals have dropped to 9th in the order. Again, he's a good player. He's good in deep leagues. He gets a lot of volume, but there's not that much contact, not that much power, not stealing bases. I don't know what he's doing for you right now in 10 or 12 team league. Then Will Warren, starting pitcher on the Yankees. He just doesn't have enough to get left-handed batters out in the major leagues. The Yankees are going to keep giving him more chances. Maybe he jumps up, but the fastball's not good. Changeup's not really that good. Sweeper's amazing, but that's all. Then Jordan Romano. I mentioned before about Jose Alvarado taking his job. Romano's been sitting 93, which is bad for him. He looks injured. He doesn't look good. Get rid of Romano. Victor Robles, outfielder in the Mariners. Robles made the catch of the year on Sunday, but looks like he really hurt his shoulder, arm, wrist in the process. I don't know if Robles is worth holding through this serious injury. Pete Crow Armstrong in the Cubs. If it's a rotisserie league, keep him because he's stealing bags, but he's really just not hitting that well. Not worth holding in a 10 or 12 team league. Jurickson Profar obviously dropped. Suspension. Get him out of here. Nestor Cortez, flexor strain. Get him out of here. This could be kind of a divisive one. Ronel Blanco, pitcher on the Astros. I was never bought in on Blanco. I was expecting some serious regression this year as a right-handed changeup pitcher because that's not really a good pitch to get right-handed batters out. He's not been commanding a slider. He's getting crushed early in the season. I'm truthfully dropping Blanco already in my 10 team leagues. The same goes for if you guys play on Yahoo and Shohei Ohtani split into a hitter Ohtani and a pitcher Ohtani. If If you're just holding the pitcher Ohtani, drop him. The Dodgers have been open that they are slow playing him as a pitcher. I said in my bold predictions video, I expect him to throw under 40 innings this season in the majors. Not worth holding. The Dodgers are very obviously slow playing him. I guess try to trade him because he's still Shohei Ohtani, but I really don't think he's going to pitch in the majors at all this season, basically until the end of the year playoff time. Then the last few, Walker Buehler, he stinks. Fenway's a hard place to pitch. Tanner Houck, similar to Walker Buehler, not that good. Sean Manaea with the Mets had an injury setback, and I really just don't know if he's good enough to hold, especially because we don't know if he's even going to pitch before June. Get rid of Manaea. Then two prospects who have really fallen on their faces so far, Cam Smith and Matt Shaw. Cam Smith sat on Sunday in favor of Zach DeCenzo, and Shaw looks just completely overmatched at the plate. Really, both of them do. I expect both of them to possibly go back down to minor league soon. But all right, guys, that's it. That's the waiver wire video for this week. Please drop questions in the comments about players to add, players to drop, any questions you may have. And again, any suggestions you guys have for the channel as we move through the season, I'm down to take them. We're trying to build a fantasy baseball community here, and I want to make content that you guys want to watch and listen to. But thank you all so much for being here. If you are still here, please click that big red subscribe button. Please give the video a like. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.